Welcome to Watch Symposium. I'm Austin. The Patek Cubitus leak. Or is it a leak? All right, so in the latest Fortune magazine, there's an advertisement for this new line of Patek watches, the Cubitus, which we'll talk about in a minute. Now, is this really a leak? Well, apparently they're going to do an announcement the 17th, which is today. My guess is that they knew this was going to leak, right? They all orchestrated this to have this happen about 48 hours before, the announcement, because of course everybody thinks it's a leak and they think they've got like inside information, and look what they did, and people make videos like this and they share it with their friends and it creates a bunch of buzz. So I think it was all orchestrated, and I don't think this was like any accident. All right, about the watch, the Cubitus. Well, it's going to be sort of like a budget Patek. All right, there's a guy in the advertisement. You can see him. He's a young guy. Probably can't afford a Nautilus or a Calatrava quite yet. But, maybe a Cubitus is right up his alley. Now, is this wise? We'll get into that. All right, so as for the watch itself, I think it's a pretty good looking watch. Now, I like round watches, so I can't see going for this watch, but it looks like a cross between a Nautilus and a gondola. It's on a strap. It's probably going to be a steel watch, and it's a sporty watch. Probably you can like swim in it, good for this young guy. And it's got the dial pattern that is kind of characteristic of the Nautilus. Now, this particular version has moon phase and a big date, and a couple different subdials. One of the reasons I like round watches is the minute hand can reach the minute marks, and that's something that really bothers me when a minute hand doesn't reach the minute marks. But they won't on this watch, at least if it's like 57 past the hour or 7 past the hour. So those corner minute marks, well, they're quite a ways away from the minute hand. So that bothers me somewhat, but par for the course when it comes to the shape of the watch. So again, this is probably going to be a steel watch in the $30,000 to $40,000 range, and so it's kind of like a budget Patek. And the big question is this a wise move? I mean, look, there are a lot of people that would love a Patek but can't quite pay $50,000 plus for one, and so is this a good option? Is this what they're going to go for? I can understand strategically why this might make sense, but I don't know if it's a good move, because I don't know if you really ever want anything budget associated with your brand. And the whole budget perception could really kill this whole line, make people kind of disgusted by it. That's one of the reasons why I think it's such a good thing that Rolex has their sort of budget versions in Tudor. It doesn't dilute the Rolex brand at all. Now, a lot of people might say, what about the quote, entry-level Oyster Perpetuals? Well, that pisses me off when people call those watches entry-level. They're just super simple. They're time-only watches. Of course, they're not as expensive, all right? And there's no such thing as an entry-level watch. I mean, it's not a camera where you have to build up to using all the buttons and stuff like that. Anyway, back to the Cubitus. I'm sure people will call this an entry-level Patek. And, it sounds like that's kind of what it is, which goes against the whole grain of what a luxury brand really stands for. I mean, personally speaking, if I wanted a Patek, I would go for what I wanted. I don't think I would settle for this. I think I would use my $30,000, $40,000 for something else, like a top tier model from another brand. So yeah, it's an interesting idea. I think the name kind of sucks, by the way, but we'll see if it works out. I think it's an attractive watch, but I think their whole marketing angle of it being for the younger crowd and more affordable, I think it could backfire. But let me know what you think. Take care. Thanks for watching. See you next time.